welcome back to Montana. Today I'm going to be rewiring actually cube lights to the front of my truck and also on the bed. In this video I'm going to show you how to wire them up, how to make the custom mounts for the hood. I've got three-way switches hooked up for the ones on the hood. I'm going to have them for on, off, and then also on with the brights, the same as the light bar I've got under the grill. So I'm running a three-way switch. That way I can have the lights on, constant no matter what, with a constant 12 volts, off, or running with another source. In my case, I've got these hooked up to the bright. So when I turn on the brights activate the relay, which turn on the lights. So that's the benefit of a three-way switch. You don't have to do a three-way switch. You can simply do a two-way switch where it's simply on and off. A lot of these light bars will come with their own harness, so you won't even need to do this. Just use the harness and instructions come with your light bar. Otherwise, it's really not that hard to do. There's this bolt here for the upper fender. Let's see how the light bracket works. So light, typical. This one actually only has one big bolt at the bottom. So let's open one of these up and get the bracket out and see how it looks. Alright, well this actually might work. That looks like it's kind of the right hole. So let's see how the light fits in here. My concern is it's going to be low, so I feel like it might need to be up higher. And we still got to consider the hood, and I'll worry about that after. Pretty close. The only issue is going to be clearance here on this side. The kit supplies for each light, for each pod, 2 bolts, so same thread pattern. One's longer and shorter. We might be in business getting that riser on there if we need it. It's close, but there might be clearance. I think we're good for the bottom bracket. I'm going to go find some washers or something, see if I have anything in the shop to kind of give that a little bit of a standoff. Well, these fit great. They're plastic, so they don't have too much give in them. They do feel like they're definitely brittle, so I wouldn't want to torque it too much. But I think they'll work. So I'm going to take the whole bag over, give myself some options, and see if I can't take a guess at what size that bolt is over there. Throw it down in the comments below what size you think it is. I'm going to guess 10 through 13. I'm going to grab an extension. 10? Yeah, we got a 10. Alright, so 10 would be fine. I don't need the extension. But we'll keep it just in case with the glass being right there. It would have been one trip if I didn't leave the other pod back there, so I've got to go get it. The wires were run already for the light bar. The wire used to be run up the weather stripping on the side here. Alright, I got the hood down to give us a little clearance. It's a big hole, so I got plenty of room, but that washer is going to be a problem. It's really not going to need a lot of threads or torque to hold on the upper fender. So I'm not worried. It's really just a bolt pretty much welded on the back of this inner fender. Well, as I discovered, even if the washer weren't on the top, I can't get it off the bolt right now. It would not allow the bolt to go all the way in. Oh, well, even with the washer on the bottom, the bolt, I wouldn't be able to tighten down with the clearance on this. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go unpack the grinder and just try and take this top portion off here. Well, the Makita certainly worked better, but this Chinesium is just melting under the heat and it's turning into this nasty mess. So before I ruin it even more or ruin the other one, let me go check it. It's ugly, but I think it works. The Chinesium bracket was bending, I think, under the heat, and being in the vise, I had to bend it back a little bit. Oh yeah, just bend that bracket up a little bit. I think that's going to be perfect positioning. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I took the grinder and profiled off the edge, flattened it down a little bit more on the top. I'm going to come down a little bit more to try and even that up. And then gave it some clearance on this side. I'll show you on the truck, but there's like 2 little weld spots, and that prevents this from kind of rotating. And so I tried to clearance this as much as possible so that not only will it fit over the bolt hole, but then I can adjust the angle of it, because the way it was before, it was kind of pointed out a little bit. And these ambers are going to be spotlights, and I want them to point pretty much forward. This is how it looks stock, and then this is sort of the contour I went there. And I'll do the reverse on this one for the passenger side. Let's go see if this fits. Well, I tested it already, and it does. So not only does it get over the hole, let's see if you can see these. Yeah, you can kind of see these little weld points. and it gives enough clearance to kind of turn a little bit and give where we want it. So I'm going to try and mirror this for the passenger side on the other one. All right, I have the passenger side pretty close, I think. We're looking pretty close to the same contour. I'm just going to take a file and clean it up a little bit. I also cleaned up the top of this one a little bit more. Not too bad for a big blunt tool and some Chinesium or aluminum. I don't know what this is. Once it got hot, it tended to deform pretty quickly. But I'm pretty happy with that for these little brackets. That'll be pretty much hidden. I'm going to go test fit, and then if everything looks good, we'll put a quick coat of spray paint on them. Alright, so it's freezing. It's like in the teens today. I got the heat gun out, kept the paint inside for a little bit, and warmed them up and sprayed it. Obviously not going to be a clean coat that way, but something quick and dirty to get it on there, and they're not going to be seen. Just because they're not going to be seen doesn't mean it matters. I guess I just don't care enough to do it for this project. The bolt spin is paid off. I have these, I don't know where they're from, but they thread in fine. And there's tons of clearance on the bottom here to use a longer one. And down here as well, and I've even got a couple different sizes from when I originally had a light bar mounted up there. I didn't like the way that looked. So I might be able to use one of these longer ones, use another one of these standoffs, and even get a little bit more clearance, vertical clearance for the brackets. Let's see how that works. I think we're in business. Got a little clearance up here. I'll have to notch this out a little bit to fit around there. I think that'll be perfect, so we can retain this up here. I was afraid I was going to have to cut it completely off. I think that's going to work great and give a little clearance for there as well. See how the pod actually fits up to it. Put a standoff with the longer bolt. I actually dropped the shorter one in the fender, so I'm going to get that later. But it works out because I need a longer one out here anyway. And get them all situated. Ooh, that's kind of cool too. I didn't even think about that. So the way that is on the bracket, I can even get that mounted out a little bit, a little further out. That might help. I'm going to center it and just get it in a rough position for right now. My hands are freezing. That's looking pretty good, I think. I think that'll look good. And they're both on. And with the hood open, it's literally just touch. Huh? Like fully extended, I had to like push on it. It goes up there. But if I just let it go, it's just touching. So I think that'll be good. There's a little play in the mount too, so I think we'll be all right. Probably hear the wind, it's howling. But I got both lights mounted up. Took a utility knife and cut these chunks out of the liner in here, so I could go around the mount. And with the riser, you can see more of the mount, so I'm glad I didn't make them look completely garbage. But they're still not really visible. They don't look too bad from 10 feet. Having that plastic grommet really helps, because then I can still kind of adjust a little bit. My lower light bar right now, I can put it all the way on when it's up, off in the middle, and then it's on with the brights. So I'm going to set this one as well the same way. It's already set up that way, wired that way. This is the way the roof light bar worked. But I just found the roof light bar just reflected too much, and it just looked kind of bro-dozer. Got a storm coming in, that's for sure. First thing you want to do is disconnect the negative on your battery. I'm not going to do that because I've already got it wired up, and what I'm actually going to do is just pull the fuse so that I don't have any power running. Hook up the positive cable. You can crimp on a connector and bolt it down. You see I've got 3 there for each of the lights, have their own power. The fuses, relay, wired up to ground here. The switch on the left is for the light bar and the bumper. The switch in the middle is for the 2 cubes on the hood, and the third switch is for the cubes on the back. They're just simply wired up under here, and then they go back through the firewall. I decided to run it in parallel, just in case one burns out, I'll know which one it is. And then I didn't know what sort of draw would be on the lights, if they can handle it or not. They don't always strip too much wire off of here. I mean, that technically you could probably solder with that, but there's no harm. And in fact, it's probably better if you just strip back more of the wires from your light bar. I'm gonna grab some of this tubing, just thread it over without, hopefully without dropping that gigantic box. Okay. So that the heat shrink is on there, we'll get it out of the way so it doesn't melt or it doesn't shrink early. And then solder up these wires. Look over it. Just try and melt it and shrink it up. I got it wired up under here. I'm going to try and get it under this fairing here, this plastic, see what we got going on in here. Looks like someone put their tinfoil lunch in there. Probably just gonna run it under here or under here across to keep it clean so I don't have to zip tie it to anything. And I'm going to put some electrical tape around this. Not the whole way, that'll be overkill, but just every so often to keep the wires neat and tidy together. I'm just gonna rerun these wires underneath the shroud. Put the clip back in. Got positive up to a fuse into the relay. I've got a ground from both the relay and from the rear lights wired into this grounding point in the engine bay. I've got the secondary, because I'm using that 5-prong relay, I've got the secondary one just capped off. Don't need to alternate between two things. And then got the power running through to the lights in the back. Now this is the power. This is actually the switch power. And so I need to wire this up. Yeah, there we go. It's tough to tell how bright they're gonna be. I have a feeling they're not gonna be as bright as they should be. Oh, they're pretty bright from this angle at least. Let's see how they show. Those are very yellow. Almost on the green side of yellow. And at this angle, I still have to aim them. They're not really bouncing off the hood in a bad way, so that's good. Turn them off. All right, so now they're on with brights. Let's see if the bright switch works. Yep, there they go with the brights. Let's get the wiring cleaned up, and I'll aim them tonight when the sun goes down. This little panel popper are great. Hopefully not drop them like that. Somewhere down there. Got the wire run across. Got the wires for this cube attached to the washer line to try and keep it out of the way of this hinge here. Cut the clips back in. Nice over here that this clip is actually part of the wire. I think it's for the light on the hood. Yeah, that's what it's for. So I put the brights on, and let's put on, yeah, they're pointed way up, look at that. All right, so let's get those aimed down. So this is fogs, normal headlights, the light bar, and the cubes. Now that night is falling, you can see how these lights work out. There's the light bar. Oh yeah, it looks so green. It's not even amber, it's like green. I don't know if it's showing up on camera that well. All right, I moved them out and down a little bit. Let's see how that works out. So that's just a light, and they are totally green. They're not even amber, they're like green. What is up with that? Okay. So definitely more neon green than yellow. I mean, these are very orange, but that's definitely not amber. It's like pine sol green.
My mama comes over and says, "Lemon, didn't I teach you nothing cleans like pine sol?"
So let's see how they look a little bit. They're definitely like green. So we got a little bit of hill here. Let's turn off the regular lights. Yeah, they could probably come up a little bit higher. They can come up higher for sure. All right, that's everybody. Just a little better. This is just regular lights and fogs, and then this is everybody. And then let me turn off the spots. It's definitely flood and definitely kind of pointed down a little bit. So I'm gonna have to fix that, but it definitely adds more light. So as you can see, I bought some white spotlight cubes to replace the ambers. The ambers were a little too much flood than what I was looking for, and I figured I'd try some different ones out. There's a part 2 for this video coming where I hook up the cubes in the back for the bed and reverse. I'll go a little more in depth into the wiring for that one for doing the switch, because I'm actually gonna run a new switch for that. After that, I'm also planning on reusing the ambers. to put them behind the grill, so I'll probably make a video for that too, so stay tuned. If this video helped you, if you liked it, please like, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff. May God bless you, and keep standing up for what's right.